Welcome to I Hate James Dobson, a podcast full of easy and light conversations. Hey everyone, Editing Jake here at the start of the episode. It's a unique one today. My parents were generous enough to come on and talk with me about healing and reconciliation. It's a conversation we've been having within my family for some time, but it's not one that I often see portrayed in a public kind of way. And it's a pretty vulnerable conversation for all of us. I don't necessarily co-sign everything they say. I'm sure they feel the same towards me, but that's not even really the point of this. It's to talk with each other with the love and respect across our differences. I'm also very aware that the ability to do this is one of privilege. Healing and reconciliation are hard things, and not every relationship is up for the task, unfortunately. I know many people who are distant or cut off from their families and can feel pressure from well-meaning but ignorant people to just get over it in some way. By no means is that what this episode is about. But where reconciliation is possible, I think there are lessons to be learned from the work that my parents and I have done. So with those disclaimers out of the way, on with the show. Welcome to I Hate James Dobson. My name is Jake. I'm a former evangelical turned queer family therapist. Readers, congratulations on making it through the holidays. We're now into 2026. I know it can be a weird time for many people, even when it's a good time. We have a very special episode for you today. I am joined by two very special guests who, like Kevin and Kelly said in the last episode, helped me keep the Yuletide gay. My parents are here with us. Brad, Janet, Mom, Dad, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I've referred to you as Brad and Janet on the show, mostly just for fun. I will be calling you Mom and Dad throughout this, or any other name as you so choose.
As long as I get one, damn it, Janet, I'll be happy. We'll continue to go with Janet.
How are you doing? How are you feeling coming on to the show?
It feels very strange. I've never been on a podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
I like that Dad is sitting under his Nightmare Before Christmas tree.
It is very fitting.
Well, and if you look at the socks, too.
I didn't even see the socks. Brooke sends her love and her hot doggy goodness. Parentheses, get a real quote from Brooke, which I did not do. So it's also officially no longer the year of the hot dog. In our next episode, Brooke will announce what the new year is.
And in the new year, we hope to meet Brooke.
Yes.
I get the sense she's trying to avoid us. You know, I mean, we were there on Thanksgiving.
Guilt her.
Yes, she needs to be here.
If we're going to listen to Year of the Hot Dog, we need to have samples.
That's true.
And Brooke's books. And what? Middlemarch? I don't think I want to read it.
I don't think Brooke wants to read it. In our last episode, we did part of it was a Q&A, and one of the questions we got was, what is the weirdest or best Christmas gift that you've ever received? I want to extend that to both of you. There's one gift I have in mind for Dad. I don't know if that will come to your mind as the weirdest Christmas gift ever received, but weirdest or best Christmas gift?
My best Christmas gift was last year when we went to Hawaii for a family vacation.
That was pretty good.
I'm with you. I think the best ones were when we traveled. That's not really what most people think about with Christmas gifts, though. They're thinking about something that you open up.
The only weird one I can think of, I can't say.
You can say it. We can cut it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Say it to us. I'll cut it.
Okay. I don't want to say that, though.
That's fine. I was thinking I don't exactly know how to describe it, penis cup that Dad got.
From
Yeah.
My best one is actually pretty sad.
Mm.
The year that my parents divorced, I think that they felt guilt about all of that. So they went over it a little bit more with presents. And I remember I got a little black and white TV that I could put in my room.
Mm.
And it was good for me to be able to retreat into my room and shut everything out and just watch the TV shows that I wanted by myself. So in a way, it was the best, but everything around it then also made it harder.
Yeah.
Ooh, I know another good one.
Mm-hmm.
The year we went to spend Christmas with...
In Germany.
Yeah. And you and
Kevin.
got to drive in her car with the top down in the freezing cold weather going really fast.
Yes, yes. This will be coming out in early January, so the holiday season will more or less be over. What are you both looking forward to in the new year?
I am so excited that 2025 will be over
Uh-huh.
because it was not good to us.
It was a tough year for you specifically.
Yes. I thought it would be a great year, and it really disappointed me. Mm-hmm. I mean, 2025, like the 25s feel like they should be a good year, like halfway between 50. You know, it's
Yeah.
a good number.
And it wasn't.
And it was definitely not.
Dad, what are you looking forward to in the new year?
I am looking forward to spending more time with our granddaughter.
Yeah.
I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I'm looking forward to that. Being able to go down to Texas and to be the kind of grandfather that I want to be.
Well, and Brad over here promised that I could go in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You said January. I'm holding you to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I don't know when, but look
Yes.
out, Kevin and Kelly.
We have not picked a name for their child, and I just like the alliteration of Kevin, Kelly, and kid.
Oh, okay.
Topic intro. Doing this podcast and being a therapist for queer people more generally, and just existing in the United States in the year of our Lord 2026, means I've heard a lot of people have very complicated relationships with their families. A big part of my day-to-day job is helping people figure out how to navigate that. It's also a big part of my non-paid life as well. Mom, Dad, you likewise spend a good deal of time trying to sit with people in these kinds of situations. We'll get into it a little bit more, but just generally, like, talk to me about, like, your expertise in helping people navigate difficult family stuff.
Oh, well, that's easy. We screwed you up.
You did not. I'm not in therapy because of that.
When you came out, Jake, we didn't have any resources. We didn't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
We found people. Linda Robertson, she leads a program called Just Because They Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I got in contact with her, and she was really influential and helpful to me. But we really didn't have resources.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got into wanting to help other people, so other people didn't feel as alone and maybe help them avoid some of the things I would have wished we had done differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that you say you are a former evangelical, but that's still a big part of who we are. But I think we have a different view of what it means to be evangelical than I think it is portrayed in most of the media. And so for us, it is about spreading the good news. And when we are talking with people in the church about family situations, try to remember really what does the Bible, what is Jesus saying about being with someone?
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we help families continue to do that and remember what the Bible is saying about being there for people and helping people and standing beside them when things are hard?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily have to do with LGBTQ. It's just, how do we help support one another and help bring people back to Christ?
Mm-hmm. I very specifically, I've said this a number of times on the show, but when I say evangelical, I mostly mean a political block.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
as with most things, there's like definitions are really tricky and slippery, and Dobson does this all the time. He'll use a word one way and without redefining it, use it in an entirely different way, and it gets slippery. Something that I've talked a decent amount about a lot in my own therapy and the work that I do, but also on the show a little bit, is deconstructing something is good and helpful and important, whether it be deconstructing from the political version of evangelical Christianity or deconstructing toxic masculinity or white supremacy or whatever. And we have to build something new on the other side. And so for people, whether they're in a specific like evangelical context, if their deconstruction journey leads them to finding some other meaningful relationship with Christianity, amazing. If it's some other religion, fabulous. If it's this weird, like, I don't know, agnostic space, that's fine. And what I appreciate about both of you is I don't think you would use the word deconstruction to explain your experience, but in this definition, at least, yeah, you still very much are part of the evangelical church, but it's not the James Dobson version of the evangelical church. It's not hell-bent on only taking rights away from gay people and making that your entire life's mission, right? So I wanted to bring you on to talk about the process of healing and reconciliation in families. We'll talk about some of our relationship, I'm sure, which I love and is great, but I also want to talk about broader lessons in dynamics. Again, we've had our own evolution of our relationship, but you both spend a good amount of time talking to people, especially in the church, helping them move through these situations. It's not fixing it for them, but being, as you said, being with them in it.
I think that's a great point. It's something that Mom and I actually had talked about recently in a separate context about fixing. And the idea that you have to fix something means that there's something broken. And I don't believe people really are broken. I think people can be hurt. I think relationships can be broken, but we don't fix people anyway. And so I would like to focus a lot more on helping people fix broken relationships than trying to fix any person. Because I look at it myself. I got my own host of problems, and I don't want anyone trying to fix me. As a matter of fact, if someone said, I'm going to fix you, I would probably push back, and I wouldn't appreciate that. And we're not trying to fix anybody, but man, we do love relationships.
The rest of this, I have question prompts that I gave the both of you. We can hit all of them or none of them. Usually I have like a pretty strict outline. This is pretty unstructured. I want to get into some of the depth, but this is just very selfish. What have you enjoyed about the show so far? and I guess more specifically, like, what is it like that I'm doing this show that I try very specifically to say it is not an anti-Christian show. It's an anti-Dobson show, but I'm wearing my I Hate James Dobson merch right now. I wouldn't walk into your church wearing an I Hate James Dobson shirt, right? I feel like you understand what I'm going for, but I imagine it can be kind of a tricky line sometimes. What is it like for you?
Well, I am very impressed with how much research you do and how prepared you are for all of your shows. And when you're talking with Brooke, I can tell that you have planned out what you were going to say and read multiple resources, and you're not just saying whatever comes to your head. You've really thought it through. You're very thoughtful in that way. And I really like that. I like how much you and Brooke laugh on it, your podcast. I like listening to Boyfriend and Kevin. That was fun. I haven't heard every single one, but I'd say I've heard a good 3/4.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than I thought.
As a parent, we want great things for our kids. We want to see them do well. We want to see them thrive. We want to see them just excel. And so the thing that I enjoy most is, and it's not really just the podcast, but seeing you as you are now, being able to thrive, being able to express who you are, having enough confidence to be able to go out and dare to do great things. And so the podcast is just one other way that comes out. And I think it's a way that you reach more people than you would in a lot of other ways. And so, that's the thing that I enjoy most, is knowing that you are successful and that, you've always had this desire to help others. Didn't quite know how you were going to do it for quite a while. This idea of being in service to others, doing it this way, that's the thing that I enjoy the most.
I appreciate that. One of my former supervisors and mentors in therapy said the point of therapy is to guide people back to themselves. And I feel like through my personal journey, even outside of our family, when I have felt the best is when it feels like I am doing things for me. And I find that the more different my life becomes from how I used to be, the through line of who I am stays pretty consistent, right? How I was going to help people, maybe the style has changed, but that desire to help people, and even some of the substance around what that means, has stayed pretty consistent. I think so often about like, oh yeah, maybe the thing that I'm doing, mom and dad would not even think about doing it a million lifetimes, but why I'm doing it, I think, is something that they would see and would respect, and it still is in line with those values.
I've thought about this recently. My dad passed away 27 years ago. He was a bit of a complicated man, definitely a product of being born in the 40s, being in the military through his adult life. And I think sometimes he got in his own way, but really what he wanted to do was he wanted to serve society and serve the community. I talked to him about why he joined the military as I was thinking, what did I want to do in my life? And he said that he believed that the United States was something worth protecting and defending. And if you think about it, coming out of World War II, going in through the Cold War, it was this idea of service. He was involved in Boy Scouts because he wanted to help train next generation of leaders. He just wanted to help be in service to people. And so when I started to think about what was important to me in my life, it helped me choose what my profession was, but it came back to how can I serve a greater purpose than just myself. So it wasn't just my profession, but some of the other things that we do, and I see that same continuity in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't think I am much closer probably to what my dad would have expected,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he really would have cared. I mean, when I decided what I wanted to do for my profession, he didn't really care that I was doing close to what he did. I think he would have been very thrilled that I was just doing something that was able to help others and serve others. And so the same thing with you. How do we go out? How do we be of service to others? How can we help build up other people?
I was very involved in Boy Scouts when I was younger, and especially when I was an undergrad in DC, being a part of the drag group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, for me, it was like just the gay version of Boy Scouts, which, if we're being honest, is already like pretty gay. But like, yeah, doing community service, being out, being visible, but also visibly helping people. Again, the continuity of values coming back to yourself is something that I think a lot about. One way I've thought about identities in a family system, especially queerness, is that of a cultural exchange. I, for instance, Mom, have loved seeing you give free mom hugs at Pride. That is a very special memory to me. What have you learned in what I've called your cultural immersion?
I don't know if I'm going to answer this exactly how you mean, but
Go for it.
I feel very sad for people whose parents have disowned them, whatever. So I knew from the very beginning when you came out and we were having such a hard time and we didn't know what we were doing, that I didn't want that.
Mm-hmm. I feel very fortunate that throughout even the hardest moments, never once in my mind, in any corner of my mind, did I question if my parents loved me. And that is a testament to both of you, and also very much a privilege. Not everyone has that.
Well, and I think that that kind of formed what I wanted to do. So I wanted to try to help other families not think that that was the only way they could handle things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's scary when your child first comes out because you don't know what that means. I've really only met one person who has said, oh, when my kid came out, I was like, yay, whatever. Most people have feelings, and a lot of people are able to have the feelings and then move on quickly. Some people aren't. Mm-hmm. And so trying to help those families just love their child, and not make barriers for us, especially in church. Like there's a lot of people who think, oh my gosh, my child's going to hell. I can't, what do we do? But how are they ever going to come to church if what we say is you don't belong, you're not welcome here? Mm-hmm. And so I think our church and our pastor try really hard to welcome people, all people, no matter what is going on. Mm-hmm. We don't get it right, but I'm happy about that. So that's kind of being immersed in your life has changed my life in that way, looking at people differently, because I think until you live that life, you don't know what you would do.
Yeah. When I was putting this podcast together at the very, very start, I went through a couple iterations of like trying to be super witty with the title. And I boiled it down to like, no, I just hate James Dobson. A very personal reason is, and I knew this at the start, but actually reading his books has shown me, he talks about gay people all of the time when it isn't relevant in ways that are really like viscerally gross and vile. And there are a lot of people who think things about gay people that I don't like, and I do not have the same level of loathing for them. I think the thing that makes me the most upset when I think about how it worked for Dobson is, as Mom, you said, there's not a lot of resources, especially in the 80s, 90s when Dobson's writing this stuff. So the only resource people had when their kid was coming out was, oh, yeah, they're going to go to a bathhouse, have sex with 80 people in 90 minutes, get AIDS. It's because their dad didn't love them enough and die. And that's the only frame of reference that you have. I can't imagine how many well-meaning parents took that advice and it ruined their relationship with their kid. And everyone has agency. I don't mean to take it away from them, but like, I blame Dobson for that so much. And I'm really glad, and I don't want to, sound patronizing, but like, I'm really proud of the work that the two of you have done to provide some kind of alternative. You're also like less directive about it, from my understanding, right? Like from the conversations we've had about the work that you do with people, you just like hold space for their feelings, which is like a therapy term that's overused, but you let people talk and have difficult thoughts and feelings and in a different way, but guide them back to themselves. Okay, what's important to you? And there's a humility. I think the humility of like, I don't know your theological interpretations of the Bible around homosexuality. And with Love and Grace, I'm not all that interested because I know that's not the most important thing to you in our relationship. Mm-hmm. And saying like, but the important thing to me is family. It's our relationship, whatever that is. I think sitting in that ambiguity and that I don't know is really difficult and something that I really respect the both of you for doing.
Well, I think that for me, I tell people that, like, I don't know the answers. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not God. I can't say anything about that. All I can say is I know how to love my child. And I know that relationships are important. And if you sever that relationship, there's no chance, like, how do you repair that? So how do we take steps to help people be in relationship with their child? And for us, because of our beliefs, how do you show God's love to your child without cramming it down their throat?
Yeah.
And in a Christian church, since we're talking about evangelical stuff right now, how do you show God's love to them without, like, every Bible verse known to man, probably. I
was really good at Awana quizzing.
You were the Awana quizzing champion of North Dakota. But that, like, if we said, oh, Jake, here's what the Bible says or whatever, which I don't know, I would encourage people not to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't think it helps anything. I think it pushes people farther away. Mm-hmm. I feel that one of my life lessons is you never know what somebody's life is like until you have that happen to you. And you can say all you want, all these things, but until you're walking that path, you really have no idea how you will respond or what is helpful or what is hurtful. You think in your head, or it's like somebody who sees a kid throwing a tantrum. Well, my kids are never going to do that. Mm-hmm. Well, then they have a child throwing a tantrum and they realize, oh, that poor mom. Mm-hmm. I should have been much nicer to that mom instead of like, she's not parenting correctly, passing judgment.
Yeah. I always have so much empathy for parents on an airplane where their kid is screaming. Like, it's annoying to me, I'm sure. I'm sure they're just like dying about it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you remember when Tyler was a year and a half and we moved
overseas.
Yeah. That plane was terrible. He was so upset that entire time. And
all 9 hours.
All 9 hours on that plane. And Mom and I, we were walking because we didn't realize the depth of his issues then. Mm-hmm. All we knew was he was not happy and he was taking it out on everybody.
Mm-hmm. Which the point of this episode is not for me just to air all my grievances with James Dobson, I promise. But the way that Dobson talks about spanking, for instance, is he would say that at that moment, Tyler was just being disrespectful to you, right? A year and a half, that's well within the Dobson says that's when you can spank kids. we had no idea all of the medical stuff going on with his intestines, right? The amount of pain he must have been in. And so for Dobson to be like, well, it's just because he is challenging you to fight for authority and power. It's like, what a stupid thing to say that has such a potential to damage people.
Well, luckily your father's pretty smart, and we realized early on that, well, first of all, we really didn't spank you guys.
No, it wasn't
I
part of
was
our-
telling
our
you
life.
the other day, the one time I remember you getting a spanking was when you were mad about something and you sat down in the middle of the street in front of a car coming towards you, and it was more out of like fear.
Yeah.
And
Kevin.
got spanked when he bit a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
But with
Tyler.
I think we were on a trip to visit your aunt, and we were in a hotel, and Tyler was crying, as he did really the first 3 years of his life. So we spanked him, and then Dad and I looked at each other and we're like, we can't do this.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work, and it's actually going to harm him.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that is important as parents, is you learn like, okay, this isn't working. We have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who tells you that it's the thing to do. They're not living your life. So,
Well, we do get to tell the one story about the other time Kevin got spanked. This was before Jake was born, and we were coming back from Florida. We had been in Orlando, and it's just the three of us driving. I don't know, maybe you were born. No, you weren't born then.
I totally remember the story either way.
Yeah.
no,
yeah,
you weren't born yet.
yeah. And he was just not behaving in the car as we're trying to get to the airport, overstimulation, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And said, son, you need to stop. And, all of the normal things that we did just didn't work. So it was finally,
Kevin.
Kevin, I don't know what else to do, but if you don't stop, I'm going to have to give you a spanking.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the airport, and he did calm down with that one. We get to the airport, we turn in the rental car, and now we're at the gate, and we have like an hour and a half. And he reminds me that he needs to get a spanking because he deserved it. So
That is the most Kevin story I've ever heard in my life.
So we went over to an unattended gate
Mm-hmm.
where, we could do that, and gave him, I think, probably 2 pretty firm ones,
Mm-hmm.
just so that he would know that it happened. And then we went and we got a book on paper airplanes.
Nice.
Yeah, because you probably felt bad that you gave him a spanking.
I did, but like when I was growing up, I have 2 older brothers, and my dad, if it was really bad, honest to goodness, we'd get spanked with a belt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And as parents, we have no other frame of reference
Right.
other than the parents that we have. And so we think that that's how things ought to be because that's how things are.
Mm-hmm.
And we think everybody else is like that. And so we did not believe that spanking was effective.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it would become too easy for that to be my go-to parenting tool. If I'm angry, well, guess what? That's what it's going to be. Whatever it is, it would be way too easy to make that the only tool that I had. And man, that was just the wrong tool. And so, as far as I know, we had only one James Dobson book growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember reading it.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't significantly influenced by Dobson, I would say, directly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that as parents, right, when you first have your kids, you're trying to find resources,
Yeah.
parenting guides, and you want to, for us, we were raising you guys in church.
Mm-hmm.
So we were trying to find respected
Right.
people. So we had a number of books. That was one of them. But I was listening to when you and Brooke were going through Adventures in Odyssey, and I was just cringing. I'm like, oh, because you used to love those stories so much. And I will say every generation of parents, I do believe, tries their hardest to do better than the one before. And man, do we mess up.
Sure.
But then what do you do with that when you mess up?
Yeah. So one tangential thought, and I want to bring back to that. I have so much empathy for many parents because not everyone, unfortunately, but by and large, I do think most parents are trying their best, and it's an impossible job. I'm specifically angry at Dobson for many of these things because he should have known better, right? By the time he was writing these things, there was really clear science about what spanking did for kids, for instance. There was all he had to do was listen to somebody who disagreed with him at all, and he could have helped so many more people than he hurt. The question that, Mom, that you posed are like, what do you do when you do your best and you realize you're still kind of like fucked up with your kid, which is an inevitable part of parenting, right? Mm-hmm. At the very top of this outline, I wrote my like thesis statement, which I do every episode, and usually I don't say it so explicitly, but I have healing and reconciliation is about respect, curiosity, and humility. And I think something that has been so beneficial to our relationship, and something that I respect so deeply about how both of you have navigated, not just our relationship, but like stuff with Tyler, stuff with Kevin, just again, being people in the world, is being willing to have that conversation. The fact that I have always felt respected in what I was saying, that you would genuinely try to listen to me, it doesn't mean that I was always right either, right? Absolutely, I'm wrong all the time. But hey, this thing hurts, and that's not where the conversation ends, right? When you were able to hear the hurt, we're able to find a path forward. That's that respect for me. It's curiosity about my experience, humility of saying we probably got stuff wrong. That's a prerequisite for healing and reconciliation, which is really what this episode is about. What do you see as general roadblocks that people have towards healing and reconciliation in families, whether it be intergenerational, like parents and kids, or I don't know, like siblings are difficult sometimes?
I know sometimes pride, like, well, I really think I'm right and I really think you're wrong, and like just digging in and not being willing to really listen and try to see where the other person is coming from. Mm-hmm. Really early on, I think I said this already, but forgive me, I'm 58, who knows? Really early on with you, we knew that what was happening wasn't the way to go. Mm-hmm. And we had to pivot, and we had to really prioritize what we wanted was a relationship with you. Well, first of all, to keep you safe, because at that time, I think your viewers know, you were suicidal, and it was scary, and we didn't want to lose you. But also, how did we mend what was broken, and how do we come back to having a healthy relationship and putting that first? And that requires putting aside your pride of, well, I'm the parent. What I say goes, which isn't like us anyway. Except for sometimes when...
except when it is. It's not
except
like
when
us,
it is.
except when it is.
Yeah.
But, like, I think Dad and I try really hard to do that with you guys. Mm-hmm. Some days are harder, but...
I continue to bring up my dad. Besides getting spanked with a belt, One of the things that I wanted to continue to do with my boys was when we talked, he listened. Mm. He might get a little bit annoyed because, it was during a football game. Mm-hmm. But he took what we had to say seriously, and it required serious thought. And so I wanted to be able to do that. And one of the other things that really impacted me a lot was when my parents divorced, my dad said on a few occasions that his biggest regret was that he was unable to make the changes that he needed to make to be the kind of husband that my mom deserved and needed. Mm-hmm. And so I could see how he changed as he got older and was able to put aside some of the things that happened, how he thought about life in the 40s and 50s growing up, to become the person that he was before he passed away. Mm-hmm. And seeing that kind of growth affected me in a way that I did not recognize at the time, but I can see it now and how it impacted me, and going, I am not perfected, and I never will be, but I can become closer if I'm open to where have I done things that weren't quite right. How can I become a better version of who I was created to be? Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. And I also think, as we're talking about respect, humility, curiosity, I felt that from both of you throughout my entire life. And again, I'm so appreciative and don't take that for granted. And I like to think, at least as I've become an adult, to be able to give those things back to you, right? I think I have some pretty strong ideas about how the world should work, and you're allowed to disagree. I would be interested. I think you disagree in really interesting ways. I think even less important things, right? Like, I don't care at all about football, but that is a thing, like, that is not just important to you, Dad, but like lots of people in our family watch football. I can be curious about it. I can ask questions, and just because it's not for me, I don't have to like dismiss it out of hand. It's not at all the same comparison, but like, I don't know, Dad, you don't care about Drag Race, but you can listen to me talk about it, and it's fine. I can listen to you talk about football. It's fine. We can respect each other in those ways. Obviously, that's a fairly shallow example, but I think it illustrates something a little bit deeper.
Yeah, but football, you don't have to like football to enjoy the snacks,
That is true.
especially during the Super Bowl and the commercials.
What is missing from Drag Race is snacks. Gay bars do not have enough snacks for Drag Race viewing parties. I completely agree. Excellent point, Mom. I know that you said you didn't have a lot of Dobson books, and I wasn't reading those books when I was growing up, but that's my understanding as well. But what was your relationship with James Dobson, and how has it evolved over time?
I wouldn't say that I thought that I had a relationship with James Dobson.
Yeah.
I had a relationship with trying to be a good parent and trying to find resources, I would say. And then, we lived in Colorado Springs, and
Yeah.
I know you don't remember Wits End.
I didn't know that I had been there.
Yeah, because you were little when we moved away from there when you were, I don't know, 4.
Uh-huh.
But
Kevin told me recently that I did indeed go to Wits End, and I was like, what? Yeah. This changes the lore of my life.
so I would say when we lived in Colorado, we lived in Colorado Springs, and that's where Focus on the Family is.
Yeah.
And I would say it wasn't that I thought really too much about James Dobson, but I knew Focus on the Family was there, and they had resources for families. So I would say that was more what I thought about it.
Dad, how about you?
Similar. He was not a big part of who we were as parents directly, but I would think that when I was growing up, there were some things that I knew that I did not want for my family. I often wondered why I was here, and did anybody care, and did it matter? And I would say a little bit more than just a normal teenage angsty kind of thing, which I think is very normal. But I often felt as though what I said and did was just not that important. And I wanted to make sure that my family, and especially my boys, never had to worry about whether they mattered. And I know that as a parent, I will mess things up. I will become very human and become short and selfish at times and say and do things that I don't want to do. But that's not really the relationship model that I'm going for. I wanted much more to understand that the creator of the universe cared about them, and that was the most important thing. And with that, understanding that, what was my relationship with God, I wanted to make sure that my children had that, so they didn't have to wonder whether they mattered. Because if God came down in human form to help save us, it wasn't just me. It was for my kids as well. And so we wanted them to know that. But I also didn't grow up in the church. So what did we have? I did not have a very well-rounded theology. And so what you end up doing is you fall back on rules. If you don't truly understand a lot of things and you're still working it out, what are the rules? And the rules are easy to understand and to follow. And if you aren't following these rules, then you need to do better. And so part of that, I think, was not necessarily James Dobson, but I would say it was part of the Dobson adjacent thing. And so I think it became a lot easier to focus on the rules and the legalism about things. And so, again, I don't necessarily want to put that all on Dobson.
Sure.
But I just think it's very much of the human condition, the human nature, to feel very comfortable understanding what the rules are. So, you talk about Saul. Saul was all about, these are the rules, and we're going to kill people who don't follow what these rules are.
The biblical character Saul.
Yes, the biblical character of Saul.
Yes.
Not the other Saul that you were talking about before.
Although I'm sure he wouldn't be that far off. Please continue.
Yeah. I don't think Dobson had a direct influence on us. I was glad that you were listening to Adventures in Odyssey because the fables that are in there are things that I can abide in. I can agree with. That we work together as a community, that there is good, there is bad, and that we want to work for the good.
Yes.
Except for what was it called?
Castles and Cauldrons.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know.
We both listened to that.
I loved your podcast on that.
Uh-huh.
I thought that you nailed it so well.
Thank you.
So when I talk about the broader themes,
Uh-huh.
some of the specific ones, I could appreciate the specific, the broader themes about, the battles of good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a huge fan of Adventures in Odyssey, but I didn't mind that you listened to them. I really loved reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking
That's
about
a
that.
much better way to talk about the battle of good and evil.
Yes.
Also, it made it easy to buy you Christmas presents.
I bet it did.
And that's a practical thing.
Yeah. Boyfriend has said this. Obviously, he has a very different background than I do, but he said coming out is finding the pieces of me and all the bullshit of other people. And so, okay, do I really like these masculine things, or is it just doing them because I wanted to prove to my dad I was a real man, for instance? And when I think about Adventures in Odyssey, I there's a podcast that I've been a guest on called The Worst of All Possible Worlds, and in addition to other things, they listen. I think they're trying to get to every episode of Adventures in Odyssey, where there are thousands of them. But when I've been on, we've listened to some episodes, and we talk about them in interesting ways. I think we critique them, but they're not all bad. And something that I have been grateful for in how I was raised and what I've taken with me is the ability to be like, yeah, that D&D episode sucked, but I really like the way that they talk about forgiveness. I really like the way that they talk about these things. Just because I don't like Dobson, I don't like Focus on the Family, I don't have to throw out all of my good memories from Adventures in Odyssey for the Christmas gifts.
And you do VeggieTales, which is separate from James Dobson.
It is.
Thankfully.
Yes.
But you do.
And I share your disdain for the recreation of it.
It's so bad.
It is. It is so bad. And it lost so much of, I think, the pure joy of the original ones.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm with you. I love that episode of VeggieTales that you had.
Thank you.
And I think Brooke enjoyed it too.
Yeah. We did have a listener question from our Christmas episode that we didn't get to, which is, who is the worst VeggieTales character and why is it Archibald the Asparagus?
I didn't like, it's not Madame Blueberry, but there was another girl VeggieTale that had a wig on that I didn't like.
Editing, Jake, I believe my mom is referring to Petunia Rhubarb, a name that I honestly could not have remembered off the top of my head, who starred in such iconic roles as Julia in Minnesota Cuke and The Search for Samson's Hairbrush, a VeggieTales story we all know and love.
I'm with you. Here's what I didn't like about Archibald.
Mm-hmm.
His character was just too static.
Yeah.
There was no joy in him.
Mm-hmm.
He never had any good songs, really. He never had anything. He was always just a very flat character.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big Bob apologist, personally. The question was who's the worst. I'm talking about the best, but I love Bob. Larry is the star of the show, and I still do love me some Larry Boy, but I'm a Bob apologist, I must say.
I remember going to the Christian bookstore to beg them to let me have the cardboard cutouts of Larry Boy so I could get it for your bedroom in California.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you remember that?
No, I do remember. I have lots of other VeggieTales specific memories.
Mm-hmm. We had a big, huge cutout in your room because I asked them when they got rid of it if I could have it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. The plungers for ears.
I remember my preschool was on the beach, on the beach, which was very cool. I remember for my birthday getting the Larry Boy mobile as a play set and bringing that to school and feeling like the coolest person in the world. And I was that is objectively a very cool thing to bring.
It is also super cool that you got to go to school
on the beach.
On the beach, a 3-sided lifeguard hut.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole purpose of that preschool was just to play.
Yeah.
And watch dolphins swim by.
There were dolphins on my picture day. I will always remember that. It was very cool.
I remember the cleanup day before school started. Since it was a co-op, the parents had to go out there and pick up everything. And a hawk had left a dead mouse. Or some other kind of vermin. And so just the idea that there would be hawks and dolphins and
whales,
and stuff
the
out
gray
there.
whales.
And the whales.
That's very
And
cool.
yeah.
I forget which episode I've said this on, and I didn't write it down, but I was very proud of it. I hate James Dobson, obviously, but I can't hate my entire childhood because of his influence, because he's already taken enough from me. I'm not going to let him take the good memories too. And whether they be totally unrelated things like preschool on the beach, or like really meaningful that I think often about our hike in the woods when I turned 13. That is still
When you guys got lost.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good part of it, though.
That's
I know,
one of my
for
favorite
you.
stories to tell, actually. I told the story to boyfriends somewhat recently. My relationship to those stories changed, but I think that's just like getting older. I don't even think that's like my specific flavor of getting older has involved like deconstructing from that type of evangelical Christianity. But I think just in general, as you get older,
So
core memories when you're 13 feel different in hindsight.
when, I don't know, Kevin, I'll say, was like 8 or 9, I read a book called Raising a Modern Day Knight. And that was really the genesis of that.
Yeah.
And it was the idea that when you're raising boys, and since I didn't have any girls, you know, I wasn't as worried on how to do that. But just raising boys, and it was the idea that the teenage years can be hard. And so come up with a memorable event to be able to talk about the thing. So I took that idea and then came up with our own thing. So with us going and walking through the 2 highest points in the Black Forest, being able to do that was my way of us just spending that time together to talk about as you go through the teenage years, which we know are going to be difficult because you're going to be going through a lot of stuff. I'm not going to be prepared to handle it. And so what are the important things that I really want to focus on in our relationship? And so I don't know if you remember those things or not, which is secondary.
I do, for the record. But
Okay, all right. But to make
the
it in
foreshadowing.
yes, teenage years are going to be hard. Didn't know how.
didn't know how, didn't know why, but they were going to be hard. So can we focus on that? And can I? And it wasn't just for you, but it was also for me. Can I be true to what I said? And I think in those hard times, I think that we did. I can remember having a discussion upstairs in this house when things were, I think, were hard and they were really dark. I thought back on that hike as I didn't say those exact words again, but I came out with different words. You know, really, you know, I believe the best for you. I believe the best in you. I believe the best is in front of you. And I will always believe the best about you. And if I'm going to be a fool and I'm going to be wrong, I'll be a fool for believing in you too much.
I think about that all the time, actually.
That's not what we said on the hike, but I think it followed along with that. And it influenced how I thought about our relationship. And so, you know, I thought it was for you going out on that hike. But I think it was for me and it was for us as well as for you.
Absolutely. We are coming to our time. We're not totally at the end. I have like 1 or 2 more serious questions, and then I have a very serious game at the end.
Which I will win.
We can make it competitive, sure.
It's not Miss Pac-Man, so you might win.
We have a tradition of playing a bunch of games around the new year that is scored for later today. And so this doesn't have to be competitive because not everyone's here to compete. But we can make it competitive. Anyway, that's for a little bit later. My last 2 questions. What do you think is lost, and at least how the general public thinks about reconciliation and repair in relationships? Like, what do you think people miss or get wrong or don't appreciate about that process?
Well, I think that you have to work through the really hard stuff in order to get to the good stuff. And I think people give up too soon because it's hard and they don't like how they feel and it's uncomfortable. And it's easier to give up than to fight for the thing that they really want.
I think too many people believe that on the one side, it's a one-sided relationship. Either I messed it up too bad, and the other person can't forgive me, and so they don't want to reach out for fear of being rejected again. Or the other side is all wrong, and I'm not going to budge until they change. And it's not my fault. I had nothing to do with it. I think about my relationship with Janet, and one of the things that I learned in my own relationship with her is it's okay to go to bed mad. Because I'm not ready to deal with my own problems. I want so much just to blame her for how I feel and how I think. Because you know what? Do you know what she did?
You know what you can say now?
Damn it, Janet.
We got it.
Because I want to just 100% blame her because she did something that really hurt my feelings. And therefore, I am completely justified in feeling how I feel. And that pause is very intentional. And I need to go to bed at night and I need to be angry. I need to curl up into a little ball on my side of the bed.
And God forbid we touch a body part.
Far away from her, because my righteous anger has now kept me warm. It has fueled my belly on that cold night. And then I recognize what a fool I am. Because there is someone who loves me, and secondary from whatever trivial thing that she did that I found annoying or bothersome. And it might have been true that it was annoying and bothersome, but not giving her any sense of, man, she's got a lot of stuff going on too. And so get over yourself. Me, not her.
Right.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. So in our own reconciliation, just owning my own feelings about it. And I don't know whether I always have to apologize for feeling how I feel, but I can't apologize for acting how I acted, and owning that, and not expecting an apology, because I need to own my own part of it and work towards that reconciliation. And so I talked about that with our relationship, but I also think, with you, I loved the year that you came back when you were in grad school. I absolutely love that. I would not wish another COVID year
Sure.
on anyone, anywhere. But I think that brought us into a better relationship, because I could tell you things that I'm working on to become a better father for you in a way that is meaningful for you, and how I feel like I got a little bit chance of a do-over. I don't know, not a do-over, but at least a chance to work on this relationship moving forward. I mean, you can't go back in time. You can't undo any of the hurt. You can't undo any of the fear, any of the worry. When you were a teenager and you were so angry, you're so angry. I don't know if you've talked about it on the show or not, so I won't, but how angry you were at us, and that really did hurt us. And I get it. And I'm okay. That year that we had together, it helped repair a lot of the things in how I think about us. A lot of things that were unsaid, I think we got to say.
Yeah. At the time, I described it as a victory lap, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
That we all did a lot of work on ourselves and on our relationship, especially when I was in high school, and especially after that. And I think we all got to some really meaningful places. But we were living different lives at that point. I was in college or in grad school or in a different state. And so the ability to for me to say I'm okay now. I have a direction, I have friends in a community, and a lot of that anger I have worked through and found a place to put and let go of. And then to share in the joy of a relationship with you, I think was also super meaningful to me. When I think about reconciliation and healing, I very much agree with what both of you have said. A question, like, I see this a lot in couples therapy when people are very like turning away from each other. Like, this person's the problem. They did all the things and they're 100% problem. You just need to fix them. It's like, what is your part in that though? It's not about blame, but like, how did you contribute to where things are right now? And maybe it's not 50-50. That's not the question, but like, relationships involve everybody. Even if, it's, I let it go on for too long, or I was misinformed, I didn't say sorry, whatever. Like, you have a role in this. Again, there's like a humility at play. I also think, and this is something I've experienced from both of you, but like, you got to work on your own stuff to work on relationships. Like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the relationship that does need to be talked about and worked through, but I just needed to like deal with my own anger and deal with like identity crises. And once I worked through that, not then I was able to come back to this relationship, but I was able to show up so much better in this relationship once I worked through my own stuff.
One of the things that I will talk about on occasion is a very existential question of why are we here? What is the purpose of your life? Where is it? Once I realized what mine was, it helps me when things are difficult. And so I can put that in that proper context of this person is not being a jerk just to be a jerk, to ruin my life and to ruin the purpose of my life of being happy. Bad things will happen. And when I say bad things that I don't want to have happen will happen in my life. And that's okay, because it then puts me into, it helps me fulfill what that purpose is.
The therapy word is differentiation. Part of what you were saying, at least, is the ability to say, like, that's your stuff and this is my stuff. A lot of people project their own stuff of like, you're doing this to hurt me. And sometimes people do that. But by and large, people aren't thinking about you all that much. And you're allowed to be hurt by it, but that's not why they did it.
And, even if they are, even if someone is going out of their way to hurt you, that's still somewhat up to you. Realizing that someone would care that much to want to hurt me. Man, they got a messed up life.
Taking
and
living rent free.
Yeah. Unless, of course, they're actually trying to physically hurt you.
Sure. The last somewhat serious question. Why did you want to come on the show? What made you say yes? And what were you hoping to say? Is there anything that you feel like has not been said or emphasized?
I wanted to come on this podcast because you asked me to, and I love you. But also, I think I really wanted to tell everybody how proud I am of you. I'm very proud of you. And also, when I think back to when you were, I don't know, I think it was 16, and how hard that time was, and how just having faith that it would get better, but not knowing how, and then to see you now. Whew.
There was a series of videos. This is very like 2010s-y. It was gay celebrities would tell their stories, and it was the It Gets Better campaign. And it's very cheesy. Again, it's very 2010s. But truly, it did. And for most people, I think it does.
I don't know if we're using any of your streaming channels yet, but that is Dad's definition of making it as a parent.
You have briefly. I don't know if you do currently.
But you do have your own health insurance.
I do have my own health insurance.
And you do live in your own home. And you do have a fiance. And you may get a pet soon.
I'm getting a cat, yes.
So, yes, I'm very proud of you. And listening to your podcast, I think, wow, that's amazing that your brain works that way, Jake.
A lot of what Mom said, to be able to be on there. And I know that when you do couples and family counseling, it's inevitable that the parents come up. Mom has listened to a lot more podcasts than I have, because I don't really listen to podcasts a whole lot. But I'll listen to this one.
Yeah.
And I've listened, we talked about the Dungeons and Dragons and the Veggie Tales, and I wanted to be, I think that we add something because of our perspective as the parents when we talk about couples and family counseling. And I also think, our perspective, and when I say evangelical, it is with a sense of what does evangelism mean, which is just helping to spread the good word, the good news, and being able to do that. Sometimes it's real easy to become a caricature with religious beliefs. And I think that a lot of times media makes it into a caricature because they don't want to explore much more of the depth of what it really means to be a follower and to be with Christ. And so to be able to come in and talk just a little bit about that, I think helps round out part of that picture. So it doesn't just become a very flat idea of what it means to be a follower. And I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm not trying to evangelize. I'm not trying, but because that's a big part of who we are as parents and as people.
The way that both of you, but Dad, you especially in this moment, like talk about your faith, it is not at all the same thing, but it feels how I talk about like being gay. Like it's just part of who I am. And like it informs how I move through the world. I'm not trying to like say, and therefore you need to be gay too. Like, but in order to know me, you have to know these things about me, you know, how my brain works. And this is a big way that it informs it.
Yeah, it is.
I wanted to have both of you on as a resource or a model for people when they're trying to navigate family stuff. Like I'm particularly proud of our relationship, and there are some lessons I think that are generalizable and some that aren't. But to say like, yeah, this is what it looks like to sometimes talk across those differences or talk about things that have been painful in ways that you're like still able to stay with each other. I think we do that particularly well.
Yes, but I still want to meet Brooke.
Yes. Absolutely. We could FaceTime. I want to FaceTime over there.
One thing that you had on your list that you didn't ask was what tips
Oh yeah.
might you have? Within our care group, we are working through that. And so we came up with a few things.
I would love that.
So the first one is...
Wait. Hey, Dad, what tips would you have for parents in similar situations?
Well, Jake, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. Within our group, we did talk about that because as kids come out, what advice can we give for the parents? And so one of the first things was to pray for God's guidance in things, you know, since this is a church thing. We want to pray for safety, God's presence, people in their life, wisdom on what to say, a change in my heart to see my child as Christ sees them. They become comfortable with who they are. The first thing was to pray. And then it was to process your emotions. Give yourself time as a parent because your child has been wrestling with this for years.
Yes.
And when they come out, realize that you need to process those emotions, and your child will likely expect you to give the response that they want because they've had years to think about it. To have patience with your child because they are navigating a very hard time. Get professional help. If you need it, get professional help. Not all therapists are quacks.
Yeah, some of them are your child.
Some of them are your child, and they're good. Extend pure love. Just love them. Love them, love them, love them. How can we continue to show that? And then the last thing was privacy. Give them space to tell their story. It's not for me to tell your story to whoever I want, however I want. Really, it is your story to tell how you need to have it told. So those were the things that we came up with in our group.
I love that.
Yeah, and those were not my things. That was somebody else in our group, and I just thought it was such a smart way to do that. And if you look, there's a lot of alliteration. All of them began with P.
And shout out to that person because we were all like, that's really great.
Yeah.
A person after my own heart. I've said this a couple times this trip, and I, at the risk of saying it too many times, it is so unsurprising to me, but so deeply meaningful that you both are just so excited for me and boyfriend. That I have said what your job in the wedding is just to show up and be excited. And that's mostly like, don't stress about it. I want it to be fun for you, and not, are you going to be happy for me? And the fact that I don't have to worry about that is so really meaningful.
We made it on your list. That's meaningful.
You're ranked number 1 in my Excel spreadsheet sorting list.
We are tier 1, babe.
Yes,
We're
tier 1.
Our game. In the RuPaul's Drag Race world, there is a show called Fashion Photo Review. And they look at every look that comes down the RuPaul's Drag Race runway, and they give it a toot or boot. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I have some categories, and I just want to do a lightning round. Toot or boot, yes or no. How do we feel about these things? Dungeons
Hold on. Is toot good and
Yes.
boot is bad?
Toot is thumbs up, boot is thumbs down.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons, toot or boot?
Toot.
Toot.
Eh.
Okay, boot from Dad.
But I would have
right.
said boot until I started playing with you.
So I am so glad that you do Dungeons and Dragons, and the U is a very broad plural of the family, as well as the entire listening audience who does it. It just takes up so much time.
Oh my gosh, it does.
And my Sunday afternoons, I got other stuff to do.
Namely
Take a nap,
napping.
take a nap, and get ready for work. And I don't have the 4 hours plus to devote.
Yeah.
So when I say it's a boot, it's only because of that. I am so glad that the family connected that way.
And it's also a win that it takes a long time because Dad makes dinner.
Having a pope from Chicago. We're not Catholic, so our stakes invested in this are pretty low.
Ooh, I think it's a toot.
Toot?
I think it's a toot too. I love it.
Duh,
and
Pope.
that he's a White Sox fan.
He's a White Sox fan. It's very contentious. Tinsel on Christmas trees.
Boot.
Boot. Oh my goodness.
Back in the day, we had to help our parents put each strand on, and there were hundreds. And
I don't
then
like
it would
tinsel
cling
with
to
garland
you. It would cling to you, and then it would gunk up the vacuum
Oh
cleaner.
yeah, it was terrible. 100%. Oh, and it doesn't really add anything.
Uh-huh.
Get more lights. Just put more lights on there.
I agree. I like garland at times, but not really on trees, just like as decorative. Small dogs.
Boot.
I'm halfway between because any dog that brings somebody joy is a good dog.
We have, as a family, have never owned a small dog.
We have never owned a small dog. However, our English cream golden retriever thinks he's a lap dog.
Well, he sits on your lap and therefore is.
Small dogs, get a cat.
My next one is cats, toot or boot.
Well, it's a boot for me because we had Allie, the cat from hell, and I will never have another cat after that because she attacked Kevin. When people would watch our house when we go on trips, they didn't want to because she would stalk them.
Uh-huh.
And then other things I'm not saying on the podcast, but I don't really say this flippantly. Pretty sure she's in cat hell.
I have nothing more to add about that.
Cats are a toot for me. Hot dogs.
So I read Upton Sinclair's The Jungle in college, and I can't eat hot dogs very much because any kind of sausage just gives me the ugh.
A good hot dog, a good chili cheese dog, on the right day. Oh man, that is a little slice of heaven.
But Brooke, I still want to meet you, even though I don't like hot dogs.
You can participate in whatever challenge for 6 Springs.
Now, a bad hot dog that has been on that roller or
the
in
7-Eleven hot dog.
in that warm water forever, no, that is definitely. But a good hot dog, oh yeah, a good hot dog, that's definitely a toot.
That is all that I have for this toot or boot adventure. Thank you for joining me. Readers, this has been my mom and dad. Mom, Dad, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this journey with me, being part of this, being so willing. Thank you both. I love you both very much.
Love you too.
Love you too.
I Hate James Dobson is a labor of love, spite, written, recorded, edited, and produced by me, Jake. In this venture, I am honored to be joined by my amazing co-host, Brooke. If you're enjoying the show, please consider rating and reviewing it. And if you want to connect with us more, you can find us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube at I Hate James Dobson, and somehow still on Twitter at IHateJDobs. You can also email us at IHateJamesDobson@gmail.com. We have merch available at IHateJamesDobson.printful.me or on our website, IHateJamesDobson.com. Our theme music is by Mood Maze and the song is called Trendsetter. Special thanks, as always, to Drew, Lindsay, DJ, Jack, and Gary. And thank you, readers, for enjoying our show. Readers, for our tag today, I present you with a conversation with my younger brother, Tyler. He felt it was vital to come on the blog and share some very important words of wisdom. Enjoy! Readers, please welcome to the show, Tyler!
Yay!
Yay! This is now the full Infinity Gauntlet of my family members. Is that reference dated? Whatever. Tyler, how are you?
Good.
Welcome to the show. Tell me about what you think of the show.
I love listening to your show and being part of your life.
Aw, I'm glad that you're part of my life too. I wanted to ask you, how are you feeling about getting another brother in the family?
I'm feeling very happy being that I'm getting another brother.
Yeah.
I guess you're going to change boyfriend's name
To what?
Fiance.
Yes. I have spelled, when I've texted him and I've called him fiance, I've spelled it like Beyonce. No one finds as funny as I do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Any just life advice?
If you have any problems, always check with your doctor and also get your vaccines.
These are a really good piece of advice. Anything else you'd like to add to the show?
Just that Brooke is the best at saying holy bone.
All right, everyone, let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Holy bone. Beautiful. That's where we'll end it.